After the show, go find us on all of our social media channels: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We are brought to you as always by Workspace Solutions and Oakmont Financial Partners. I'm your host, Justin Riley. With me, as always, is a living legend, all SEC linebacker, Mr. Marvin Constant, and senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, Mr. Stephen M. Smith. What's going on, fellas?
Hey.
Hello, what's going on, people? Oh.
Steve got that glow about him, man. He had a good honeymoon, man. How'd that go?
Didn't want to leave Pensacola, man. Pensacola, Florida.
I imagine.
Yeah, he didn't ask you about that. He said, "How was your honeymoon?" Better yet, how's your prostate feeling? I know you can about kill yourself.
First off, that's feeling.
Did you have to give it IV?
No IVs needed. I'm fantastic. No IVs. No inhalers. We good.
His prostate and his back ain't no good right now.
Matter of fact, if you look down, he's in a wheelchair.
Both paws feel like Superman right now.
I hear you, Stephen. But hey, it's glad to have you back, and no time lost for you. You got right back into the thick of things. You're at SEC Media Days, but before we kind of jump into that, if you would, man, kindly introduce our guest.
Oh, absolutely. So this is Coach with some of everybody.
Hold on, man. Hold on, Steve. Before you introduce, you over here for SEC Media Days?
Yeah, I was there.
Man, you could have told me you was coming to Atlanta, man. I'd have took you to lunch or something. My God.
I didn't know, Marvin. You were probably out there doing some contracting work.
Man, I'm sitting over here minding my business.
He hurt his heart, brother.
Well,
introduce this man.
Well, next time, Marvin, I'm gonna take you up on that lunch. But
don't feel bad. I had to send Roman an angry message today too when I realized he was here. I thought SEC Media Days was back in Birmingham. I didn't realize it was in Atlanta.
Very few people did. I mean, it shocked. We got a brother right here who has been around a lot of great athletes. He's mentored, brought them up, put them in the game, put them around the game, put them beyond the game. Been around guys like Will Anderson, like Jahlil Hurley, like Tony Mitchell, to the University of Alabama right now. Just a ton of guys he's put his hands on. One coach is out there and leader of men. We got Coach Bull Jones. What's happening, boy?
Hey,
what's going on, Coach?
Hey, Stephen, Julius, and Marvin. Hey, look, man, if I can get anything better than that, man, I'll be 6'5". I'll be up there as tall as Marvin. Hey, man, that's a beautiful intro. Hey, listen, I'm happy to be with you guys, man. Life is good. It's called Coach Life. Life is good, man. It's good. Hey, man, I'm glad to share some time with you.
Well, be glad you didn't have to coach Justin, because he'd have brought your resume down a few notches, man. God, boy.
Every coach needs that Rudy story to tell people, man.
Coach, you know how you see that player with two left feet, no coordination, can't get off a ball, can't get off a block, can't tackle, can't catch. You look at you like, why are you even out here? Because your mama wants you out the house. That was just
and that's true, but and usually that mama's probably be real heavy on the booster club too. So you gotta make it work. See, that same thing. I ain't gonna talk, but I'm from the ATL, okay, and from DeKalb County. So I'm from we call it the deck, but I'll say DeKalb County to be politically correct. Gresham Road for life. But anyway, I'm just telling you, we had to play the private schools like Marist back when they didn't have athletes. They got them now. Coach Chadwick does a great job. But yeah, see, those Justin players, their parents usually got the money to make sure that he gets in the game. And listen, give him some quality plays and make sure you got somebody to video it when he goes in, and get that side person to take them shots, head shots, action shots. If they don't look too good, get the steal shot.
And I had heart. Hey, I got in on the occasional crackpot, Coach. I had some value.
Hey, listen, everybody, look, Steve, hey, Marvin, Steven, everybody means something on the team. Everybody means something. That's what you talk to.
Look.
Yeah.
My role was just run down the field. That was my role. Just run down the field.
You're a decoy.
Okay, you can't run like Marvin, but you can still run. See what I'm saying?
Marvin can't run anymore.
Everybody can't run like Marvin could. Everybody got a 12-pack. Okay, everybody don't have that. See, hey, Marvin, I do my homework, baby. I'm old at this. I'm old.
Well, real quick, can you give us a little breakdown?
I don't run anymore. I just had knee replacement surgery in December, so them days behind me.
Amen, brother. Amen. Hey, glad you can move better. How about that?
Yes.
Well, guys, as Marvin reminded us, it's SEC Media Days today. Coach Saban, Bryce Young, Jordan Battle, and Will Anderson all went to the podium to give us a little bit of a preview for what to expect this year. And Coach Saban opened things up by talking about improving attitudes. One of the biggest things last year that he had an issue with were the poor me's and the lack of dog mentality. But in his press conference, he said the mindset's right, the leadership is there, and people are buying in. How important do you guys feel that part is corrected, and then how far can we go if that part is in place?
Before I answer, though, I got to tell you a story. So, I'm on Instagram today, just scrolling through timelines between my meetings. And I see this Alabama video where the guys getting on this jet, they the SEC Media Days. I'm like, why the hell are they taking a jet from Tuscaloosa to Birmingham? I'm sitting over here on 100, and then I find out the SEC Media Days is in Atlanta. I felt like quite the jackass.
Marvin, it ain't your fault, man. Everybody felt the same way.
Yeah, because I'm over here. I'm like, this is what they wasting our alumni dollars on to fly from Tuscaloosa to Birmingham. I was hot.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Marvin, I'm upset because I'm not there because Atlanta's home, and I certainly and I'm jealous that Steven is there because I just finished leaving Tuscaloosa a while back and all that stuff, and I wish I had been there, but it was family time. We bumped it because my son plays travel ball baseball, and they just finished up, so this was the only time. But I have a lot of spots I can also take you to, Steven. Boy, I tell you, just eat your back out and everything else.
Hey, I live in Atlanta.
People keep forgetting about you.
That's bad. That's bad. And he didn't tell you. He didn't give you the itinerary. Yeah.
No, and I live here.
Yeah, that's tough.
Well, Coach, back to the question at hand, man. How important is it for Alabama to have the right kind of mindset and to be rid of all those poor attitudes that kind of hindered us at times last year?
Well, here's what I can tell you guys. And Marvin knows what I'm about to say. See, everybody, everything that looks good ain't good for you, and everybody don't have that dog mentality. See, the great ones, there's an alpha male in that group, and there are some teams that Marvin has been on as well because he's been there. He's been through those same repetitious speeches, but they're all a common denominator about taking people out, destroying them, taking out their will to perform against them. That starts physically to the mentally. And you got kids sometimes that want to wear the Bama and say they're at Bama, but are they really Bama? Are they really the true mentality of what has been planted, stuff that Marvin's been a part? Listen, that stuff, man, that's real stuff. And some of those kids didn't share those same views. However, they put it on because they want what's at the end of the road for them. But that little short man down there in Tuscaloosa got a part about him that he's gonna make you call. You're gonna call the arms, bear the arms on what you all about. We gonna, as I call it. Now I don't know if I got it from anybody, but hell, is my saying, you're gonna get the butter from the duck. Okay. Now, what you made of, and you're correct. Those guys got to go because they didn't make Bama look right. Okay. And that's the standard, man. Come on. Just like your hey man, that's the standard. And when you don't follow that, then everybody wants to start taking shots at Bama on why they're not where they supposed to be. Well, daggone. Look, I mean, they had to get some other things rolling, and now everybody's upset. So I agree with you. Everybody don't have that dog mentality. And Bama has, when they've been successful, they've had more dudes with that dog mentality. I'm talking about, you see it in their walk.
Right.
Now, the thing about having dogs, which you have to have them, you got to have them killers on deck who ready to go in. But you also have to have that one or two that's at the top of the food chain that's going to do whatever's necessary to keep that team motivated and to stay on top. You can have a yard full of pit bulls, but you're going to have one or two that run that yard to make sure the rest of them fall in line to do what they need to do. If there's no one to make them fall in line, everybody's going to be all over the place. It's going to be chaos.
Amen.
And when you got chaos, you can't win in football with chaos. You got to be organized. You got to be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. It goes back to accountability. Accountability is the one thing that makes a team successful. If there's a lack, you're in trouble.
Amen. Amen. That's a great point. That's a great point. And that's what they have been missing. And you know, Mark, like I said, you've been there. You've been on the inner side of this whole thing. So you understand that mentality that personifies everything you do there and what it's supposed to look like. And when you don't do it that way, and you're correct, you hit it right on the nose. At some point, Bama lost that alpha male. And it hurt the rest of the program subsequently. Now, does that mean that everybody else didn't get better? The heck they did. You know, everybody gonna bring their lunch to play Crimson Tide. But who's the alpha male? Who's the alpha male that says, hey, fellas, we got a problem. Let's fix this problem. Am I right, Marvin?
Let me ask you a question, though. At times last year, did it not look like as a unit, offensively and defensively, that there just was not that, hey, let's rally the troops? There wasn't that guy who was that on-the-field general. Yeah, you had Bryce Young, who won the Heisman Trophy, but who on that offense stood out to say, hey, man, we got to go do X, Y, Z and get it done? Who was the one holding them accountable? On defense, you saw Will do it as the season progressed. But again, you need more than just that one. You need one or two good ones on each side of the ball. One person can't do it by themselves.
Correct. And another thing with that, to echo exactly what you're saying, Marvin, there has been a lot of transitions through coaches in a short amount of time at Bama. There have been a lot of coaches come through there. Okay, 1 minute I go to the campus, I'm looking at Butch Jones as an analyst. All of a sudden now he's head coach somewhere. Then I'm looking at Charlie Strong as a defensive line coach. Now I'm looking at another person as defensive line coach. Now I'm looking at another defensive back coach. Okay, so in that room, and this is important, that room, Marvin, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In that room, that position meeting room, see, that's where it's all planted. The seed is planted of who's going to be confident in what coach and what they say to you and how you're going to illustrate it on that field. And they just had a lot of transition. You know, you're successful, you're going to pick from the cream of the crop. Bama still was, even though didn't win national championship. But heck, you got guys leaving everywhere. Okay, so you're right. They missed that. They had a void of who that dog was. Okay, and this was Bryce Young's first year at the helm. Remember, he was in that room with Mac Jones and Sarkisian. Come on. Hey, come on, man. I mean, that room by itself, that's just like when you were in that room with your position coach. Come on, man. Come on. Y'all all rolled that same mentality, and somebody had to say, it didn't have to come from the head coach. It came from you.
But you know, the thing about it, the thing that I've always preached, and a lot of people get mad at me for saying it, college football players play with the emotion and intensity. They feed off it from their position coach, from their coordinators. They get that energy from their coaches. If the coaches are not leading that charge, though, and feeding that energy, especially on defense, if your defensive coaches aren't lively and giving you that energy in college football, it's probably not going to turn out so well. And a lot of people get mad when I say that because I'll talk about Pete Golden and his personality. He's not a coordinator that a lot of these kids are going to rally to because he doesn't have that energy. You look at the Kirby Smart energy. You look at the Will Muschamp energy, the Jeremy Pruitt energy. All the guys who've been highly successful, their energy is through the roof. and they keep them kids on 100. You can't be a college defensive coordinator over there holding his paper and just quiet. That does not work.
Well, listen, I'm gonna tell you this. I do agree with some parts of what you're saying, but let me add something to it, because it's not really against what you're saying, but let me add something to it. The kids have changed, and that is for me, starting coaching in the early 90s to, I'm here in New Millennium, and there is, you have validity to what you're saying about there are some kids that need that extra. They need that. Some are not just wired to, I got this, coach, I'm about to go 0 to 50. But here's the other thing that happens, and you all really kind of mentioned this already. I say I don't put it all on Pete Golden to
I don't put it all on him, but I say it starts
I really,
at the top.
I really put it on, you're going to, with everything going on in college football now, there are kids that are not, they're not driven the same way. Mm-hmm. That room that you were in, Marvin, is not the same room that these kids are in. Okay. And their want to changes. In fact, Saban has said it in the past when they've had some down years, that there were some guys worried about where they're about to get drafted. So they didn't want to tell Coach Saban they didn't want to play in the bowl game, but they took that L in the bowl game, but they didn't play like they could. So I think that Golden is the type of coach, maybe he's not that. I learned a lot from Kirk Olivadotti. I've had a chance to learn some schemes and things for the 3-4. Jim Reed, who wasn't a rah-rah guy, who worked with Coach Saban in Miami. Those guys helped me just be a student of the game. And neither one of those were rah-rah guys. And they all got it from the guy who was at Pittsburgh for years. Okay, and he wasn't a rah-rah guy. So now what happens? How do you get these kids to figure this crap out? Guess what? If you can't figure it out, my bad equals my bench. BENCH.
Oh, wow.
I'm sitting over here. Now, does that work on everybody? Maybe Pete could jump up and go crazy and blow a head gasket. You and I've seen him do it. But to me, the measure of what's happening with those kids, I don't put on him, because it's a different kind of kid. And it's, I don't want to say it's bad.
Right.
But it ain't good.
It's a different kind of kid. But as a coach, you got to know and adapt to the players that you have to get the best out of them. Kids have changed over time, because back when I played, my coaches knew, Rousey, Ellis Johnson, all them, they knew they didn't have to say nothing to me. They knew I liked torturing people. And from the moment I walked on that field, I'm looking for somebody to execute every play. They never had to say nothing to me, because they knew what they was going to get when I walked out there. But you don't see a lot of that today, and social media got everybody thinking they're a superstar. We got all these prima donnas. So much has changed. So you got to understand the kid. And once you understand the kid, you got to know what makes them best out of them.
But still, Marvin, that still doesn't make him. I get what you're saying, and I really believe what you're saying. But you just hit something, the elephant in the room, for lack of a better term. And the problem is that doggone social media. See, that social media is the invisible poison that you didn't have to deal with like that. And the guys around you were y'all fed off each other. It's changed now. Everybody got to do it. I hate to say it, but even coaching high school ball now, you got the cameramen, the side cameramen that are filming the kids and to see them make another play. I'm not going to call out no names, but it's Westlake. I'm going to leave it right there. Okay. This guy had to play against him. I'm battle tested. Yeah. You can say that name in the ATL. Yeah. Kids they got somebody saying, take a picture, video me right now, because I'm about to score a touchdown.
Yep.
So now how do you, or should I say, how does Pete Golden or any coach deal with kids that you got all this going on? It's crazy. It hurts. It hurts the true essence of the game, because technically speaking, when you play now, that's considered Neanderthal.
Well,
that's Neanderthal.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Stephen M. Smith is back in the room. Coach Saban didn't really address this in his main press conference. The position groups that drew the most criticism last year were the secondary and the defensive line. Stephen, when you sat down with Coach Saban, what was he able to tell you that makes you more confident about those two groups going into next season?
Coach, he's not going to give out everything. We know this. Defense, very confident in this group. I mean, to me, this is kind of an underrated group because we've seen much of Byron Young as a starter. We've seen him as he can go out.
Steve, yeah. Are you on Wi-Fi? If you're on Wi-Fi, just use your cellular because you're cutting out every other word.
Okay. Trying to do that now.
Take two.
Just turn your Wi-Fi off and just use your cellular data. That way it won't keep cutting lag because you got a lag in there.
We'll go back to
I thought it was my hearing. I mean, I don't look old and I don't feel old, but
well, we'll go back to him while he adjusts. But Coach Bull, out of those two groups, what group has the most pressure on it to perform? And a second part to that is, what do you think the advantage of having Coach T-Rob is over Jay Valai?
Okay, listen.
He's smiling now. He must know something we don't know.
If you watch my show, you know that I try to make sure that it's about coaches, and I try to give love to the coaches, but I have to keep it real when it's time to keep it real. And here's what I need to say, and it's just real. Ajay was not the right fit for the secondary at University of Alabama. He was not the right fit. A great tactician, but bottom line, it's going to be the way Coach Saban wants it done. And however that secondary belongs to Coach Saban still, don't get it twisted. Okay. And the way he wants it done, there was some injuries, there was some nicks and tucks, but them kids having to absorb Ajay, some of them might hurt them. It hurt them a lot. To the Josh Jacobs kid, not Josh Jacobs. I'm sorry. The corner,
Job.
Yeah, messed him up. That kid had a terrible year for his standards. So I think that T-Rob, there is, at some point there's a connection that you give to the kids, okay? And it's not all about you letting the kids know how much you know. They don't care about you unless you show. They don't care what you know until you show them that you care. So long story short, Ajay was a very good coach. He came at the wrong time at Bama. You had some veteran players in there. You have a stable group, and Ajay was too much on technique, over coaching. And those kids, you know who the real man in charge is. Defensive line wise, I tell you, I was a little disappointed in the interior guys. I thought that, but here's the deal with that, and it goes back to what we talked about. Back, and I saw the show y'all did with Deron Payne. Look, man, those dudes were people eaters. Okay, they can shut down the practice. It don't matter who's on the edge. Okay, and I was a true critique of To'o. I stayed on his butt like white on rice, like cold on ice, because I did not think that he did enough downhill playing for me. Well, I saw him, and he looked at me. I said, "Yeah, it was me. If this face ain't changed, it's been the same one." And he's a little bigger. He said, "Yeah, coach, I knew all that. I saw all that trash you talk." I said it wasn't trash; it was the truth. And you know it's right because you got something to say to me. And you know you were wrong. Now I coach linebacker, so I know what it's supposed to look like. And you didn't come downhill, baby. At some point you're a thumper or you're a chaser. Am I right, Marvin? You a thumper.
And if you a chaser, you belong outside. That middle ain't for everybody. It takes
you got this grown man
animal and play middle linebacker.
Thank you. And he didn't do that, gentlemen, the way he did it at Tennessee. He didn't do it that way at Bama. And I stayed on his butt. And he looked at me like I was crazy, but he knew I was right because I love him. I want him to get better. That's why I said what I said. But I truly believe that T-Rob, boy, what a personality to have. He's going to do this with the kids. He's going to do this. Okay.
Oh, he's great. Oh,
you're gonna have an uh-oh moment, but he's that kid when you have an uh-oh moment. See, it's only so much, but butt chewing. You can cuss them out only so much. Am I right, Marvin? It goes only just so far.
True. Those relationships matter. They matter.
We got a question from the audience.
I'm telling you, Julian, T-Rob is that guy. He's that guy. He's gonna do this. Okay, and
that's what we need.
This is what I noticed. Last year, I just watched Coach Saban was always looking at Ajay, even during the, when they have the coaching clinics and, you get a chance to watch those guys work. And man, I just watched, and Saban sees everything. He sees everything now, Now, if he elects to chew you out, I mean, that's just what Saban does, but it's okay. Sometimes he's showing you a little love. It just don't feel like love.
Right.
But guess what? There was something about Ajay. I didn't see where he connected with those kids. And that's what you need, because they ain't going to play if they don't know you care about them. So to answer your question, the secondary, I think, just got an upgrade. And because the competition is better. Ricks ain't ready to play with them yet. He ain't ready. It's a whole different work ethic. And then he came off an injury. I think he will get better, but he got to earn that. Okay, he got to earn it, and I think he knows that now. It's I listened to Moody talk, Jalen Moody talk, and he just said, "Coach, we focus now. Coach, everybody's on the page. You got Jermaine Burton coming up in there, going off in practice, competing against everybody. He just won a ring, and then he gonna turn around and come to Tuscaloosa, and he giving everybody work. And guess what those guys did? They didn't hate on him. They embraced it. Man, that was beautiful. It made my flesh, because that's how it looked back when you played, Marvin. That's when you play. That's what it looked like.
We got a quick question.
I put an undisclosed amount on them at -38 today in that first game. I'm just saying.
Basically, if they don't,
season all right now.
If I've been saying if Bama don't cover, he mad.
He mad. We got a question from the audience from Marvin.
I put an undisclosed amount at -38. They better not let me down.
They got you, Marvin.
Kenneth Sawyer has a question for you and Coach. How do y'all feel about dealing with how do you deal with the attitudes? Coaches could put them paws on us in the 80s, and I know y'all don't do that now.
Well, I'll tell you straight up. I seen several fights when I was in school. It was nothing for a coach and a player to get to fighting on the sideline. Again, I'm not going to say which coach and player got to fighting in the middle of a 2:30 game on CBS against Ole Miss. We right there, cameras rolling. Another fight, BCS Orange Bowl, NBC night game. Another fight on the sideline. I mean, you are dealing with grown men. Although they are teenagers still, 18 to 22, you are still dealing with grown men, and you do still have egos. Now, don't get me wrong. The majority of the seniors who were in their 20s, you don't see a lot of that from the 18 and 19-year-olds. It's usually the guys who've been there for a few years who feel like they done grown up and they're a man now, and coach can't really tell them nothing. But at the same time, a lot of people don't know how to take what coaches are giving them, because it's just their way of expressing love and that I care about you and I want to see the best out of you. And I'm trying to figure out how to press your buttons. And if I know this is going to press your button to make you go play hard, it might piss you off in the process, but I'm still going to press that button. Now, you can't press that button like that today because, again, like we talked about earlier with social media, guys are quick to run to put you on blast, and you got the transfer portal. Kids going to catch out on you the moment you say something to them that's out the way. It's a completely different game. It's almost like glorified babysitting or something, because, again, they got to be so careful with these kids. Again, I mean, I heard a coach tell a kid, your mama should have swallowed one time in practice. I heard another coach tell another kid, you should have been a stain on a sheet. It was brutal back then. You say that to a kid now, you're going to be on ESPN and you're going to be under investigation.
That's correct. Well said.
I promise you.
Marvin, you go ahead, Stephen. But yes, Marvin, you said that perfectly. That's correct. Go ahead, Steve.
I was agreeing with Marvin.
Well, while your connection is working, can you go back to that question about your conversation with Nick Saban about the defensive line?
Oh yeah.
Well, let me answer. Let me answer, Justin, if you don't mind. What?
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm sorry. Let me add this because I want to hear what Stephen got to say too. Let me add this. I tell my coaches, this is one thing that I give my coaches, especially my younger coaches. I tell them, listen, if you're gonna cuss them, however much you cuss them out, make sure you love them up as much. More importantly, when you leave that field with that kid, make sure that he understands that you're in his corner, but you're going to stay on his butt to get it right. And I think that's what Marvin is talking about. All those words, those phrases he just used. Okay, I came from the old school of coaching, and I've heard all those. I've heard all of those now. Okay, I played in the 80s. Okay, so I heard all of that, and I know what all that means. And it didn't bother me. And I didn't grow up with a father in my house, and I wasn't hypersensitive. I wanted to be the best. And that made me mad, and I just took it out on a player. But you're correct. These kids don't think like that. They are hypersensitive. They're emotionally fragile. Some kids, you got to find out what kind of learners they are, guys. All kids don't learn the same. Some are auditory. You can say it, they got it. Some are visual. Some you just got to break it down. Just got to talk to them about it for a little while, and they'll catch it. They'll say they got it, and everybody doesn't learn the same. So I tell my coaches that on amount of cussing and saying things, the first thing I tell my parents at the Boost Club meeting, they say, well, Coach Jones, do you curse? I say, listen, I say every word in the dictionary and every word in the Bible. Okay, so now, when I hit my pinky toe, and this is for the double Christian people out there, when I hit my pinky toe on the edge of the bed, on the corner of the bed, on that wood, I don't say gee golly wow. That ain't what come out my mouth. And I know, so it gets all the parents laughing, and you just lighten it up. But what I'm really trying to say is, for the question that Kenneth was asking. It's tough to deal with the kids, but here's the greatest common denominator that works. Put them on the bench. If they ain't listening to you, put them on the bench. When you put them on the sideline, fellas, and don't pay attention to them and keep coaching, they figure it out. They say, wait a minute, coach not playing me. Well, yeah, you didn't figure it out. So since I cussed you out and jumped your butt, it didn't work. You got sensitive. You called your mama. You videotaped me. Okay, what else you did? I tell you what, player, this is what we're going to do. Everybody in Metro Atlanta know how I am, and Marvin Jazz will tell you. I ain't lying. People that hear this show gonna say, I remember Coach Jones doing this. Okay, D. Gates, Ole Miss linebacker who played for me, just finished playing with Bo Scarborough and Birmingham Stallions, won the championship. D. Gates can tell you all that stuff. I said everything. Did I mean it? No, but I made sure I loved my kids up. And if I found out you couldn't take it, then I just stand you right here. Stand on the sideline, son. Well, wait a minute, coach, can I go back in? No, you can't go back in. Just stand right here. Well, coach, what about my reps? Well, I tried to teach you 5 times. You didn't get it, and I'm not going to cuss you out. So guess what? Just stand right here. Don't even hold a clipboard. Stand right here. I'll tell you when I need you.
Yeah.
So, Kenneth, that's the answer for you, Kenneth. I'm sorry I went too long, but I love what Marvin said, man. I love what Marvin said. Marvin sounded like one of them jokers that played. Oh, boy. If I had him back in the day, we Mike A. Blitz in every play. I don't give a. Okay, let's go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Stephen, if you could, man, go back to that question and
man, I was enjoying Coach Jones there for football spirit right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
and Marvin got me. My linebacker. I'm a linebacker coach. I play press man, off man. No, if you got to play zone, then you don't get off the field. I'm sorry.
But going back.
I listen to Marvin, Stephen. Marvin got me juiced up. Ready.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you though, one of y'all finest products out of this area, Jamal Lewis. I wore him out.
Jamal Lewis that played at Tennessee.
Wore his ass out.
Well, you can go ahead and say that, but I had to deal with him on the high school level when he played at Douglas, and he was a grown man, and he ran through people. I think some kids.
Tennessee.
Yeah, I think some kids truly just lost some body parts, back in those days trying to tackle him. It wasn't fair. Jamal, you know I'm telling the truth. It wasn't fair. You had no business anybody city of Atlanta coming out looking like that, running like that. And so I guess he got it from you.
I got redemption for everybody.
Well, thank you, because there's some kids that needed it.
Oh my
Go
gosh.
ahead, Steve. I'm sorry, man. I had to move. Go ahead, Steve.
That was awesome.
You good, man. But yeah, going back to give too much away, but the defensive line, I think this is Byron Young has played some this year. He gets that chance to start. D wonder, is this finally his moment? He's dealt with some injuries. He hasn't been all the way. Justin, the boy, be kind of the same thing. He has never gotten that chance to really break out. So
yeah,
where you look at Freddie Roach and you say, Coach Roach, how many people, because in years past, we've seen Alabama have that one defensive lineman that goes this thing over, whether it was Marcel Darius or Terrence Cody or Deron Payne or recently Christian Barmore. You always had that one guy that said, hey, so, who's going to be that guy that does that this year? And it's the freshman. I mean, it really could be him. It could be him. It could be Jamil Burrow. It's an underrated group. Freddie Roach knows I got that. I got some dog-like guys in the secondary. In that linebacker room, Henry To'o, you got to come with it, man. You got to come with it this year. Jalen Moody also. So I think Freddie Roach is looking at this D-line going, we got whether it's one of y'all taking over or having multiple guys, Freddie Roach will be right.
I agree.
I hear you.
It's a great point.
Toa, he gonna have to learn how to get his hands in that hat dirty, man. You can't play middle linebacker making tackles 5 yards down the field. If it's 2nd and 5, they winning the sticks every chance. That's winning the sticks.
That's right.
Come on, man. It don't do no good to have 12 tackles if each one of them 5 yards downfield, man. Come on. You middle linebacker, they running that ball. It better be a 2-yard gain or less. You got to learn how to hat in hand that guard and that tackle. Get over them, get under them, do whatever you got to do to make the tackle. Again, they running the ball 5 yards a pop. I don't care if you got 20 tackles and it's 5 yards down the field. That man going to end up with 150, 160 yards, but you celebrating 15 tackles 5 yards down the field. Come on now.
Great point, Marvin. Great point.
That's the reason pressure on Henry T, because he knows if he comes out the gate struggling, it's going to be your inside linebacker. It's going to be your middle. If not Jalen Moody, Dante Lawson, or the freak Kendrick Blackshaw, who's been doing some incredible offseason. So Henry T knows if I come out the gate against Utah State, if I'm struggling, my spot gone.
Mm-hmm. And it need to be. I support playing freshmen, sophomores, young guys. I don't see a problem with it. I mean, you look back when I played in 99, different time, different game, I get it. But we had one senior that started on that defense. Everybody else was pretty much freshmen and sophomores. And we still won the SEC championship and should have won the national championship. And the majority of the starters on that defense were all freshmen and sophomores.
That's right.
Good point. I agree with you totally. Listen, the bench is the greatest teacher, and it can be the greatest motivator if you learn how to do it right. For me, the OGs taught me, because I was that coach. I'm still working on not throwing my hat. That people that see me still laugh about it. Officials even laugh about it. They say, Coach, you're going to behave tonight. I said, I'm trying. I'm trying. But it's only because, like Marvin said, when you teach a kid over and over again how to do what it needs to be done, you expect the results. And nothing is given. Everything is earned. And I want to see those linebackers earn that. I want to see them dogs in the middle earn it. It means everything. I'm still upset that Justin Ibigbe did not live. I coached against him when he was at Forest Park High School. Okay, he was #1 defensive lineman coming out of the nation, and I watched him fuss and argue with his head coach. His head coach took him out of game one time, and he pushing and jumping at his head coach. I don't know if Coach Saban ever knew that, but the fact of the matter is that kid didn't live up to expectations to me. He did not live up to it, and he should have been better than what he was, okay? There's no other way to look at it. You have to challenge kids to get better. So I agree with both of y'all. And if you don't challenge him, then as a coach, you wrong.
Now, I spoke earlier about having them dogs on the field. Now, it's important. Like I told you, when I played, we still won the SEC championship, and most of our starters were freshmen and sophomores. We had a couple juniors sprinkled in there and one senior. But the one thing that everybody on that defense knew, everybody on that damn team knew it. I was going to make every tackle on that field, and everybody else was trying to pad their stats, so they had to raise their level to try to get some action because they knew I wouldn't cut no shorts to nobody. I didn't care who we was playing. If that ball moving, whether it's a run, screen, pass down, they knew I was coming. So that you get that one player who elevates that game so high that it should bring everybody else up. And when it's your middle linebacker, you see a trickle-down effect. If your middle linebacker is the leading tackle on your team, you got a problem.
That's correct.
You in trouble.
That's correct. That's perfectly said. Yep.
And one of those guys undoubtedly for us, Will Anderson. And, Coach, you have a closeness with him. And I want to ask you, and I want to pass it around the room.
Hold on, time out. Before you answer this, Coach, I want you to consider this too. Now, you got Will Anderson over here, who's automatic double team. You got your lineman, and you had Dallas Turner backside. So there ain't no reason Toa. He wasn't getting double teamed. Guards and tackles shouldn't even been getting up on him because with Will getting that double team, it changes the entire blocking scheme on the offensive line.
See, folks, what Marvin just said, and Steven, what he just said really cracks the code. And when you watch, see, I watch football games differently than everybody else. Okay, I don't have to go to the game to see my player. I see a different game. See, I understand if my strong side jack back or strong side back in 3-4 is getting double teamed, then I already understand the course of the defense. Who the hell should be available to make this tackle in the gap downhill? Okay, so that is beautiful, Marvin. How you see, you know, when you get that's the stuff I do on my shows when we talk about it. I realize sometimes it goes out of the context of what regular fans understand. But when you know the game, when you play the game, when you coach the game, Marvin just said it exactly what it is. There's no way on the man upstairs, God's green earth, that this young man should not have 10 hit for losses. Because if everybody's matched up properly, especially when we're talking zone, I ain't talking about coming just straight downhill because, you know, everybody wants to run away from Will. Okay, and you can't do it no more. Now you got Dallas, so you got a cyborg and a Terminator,
and you got their son, Chris Braswell.
That's right.
Now where you going?
So whether they zone blocking or they chipping, it don't matter because you got to respect them. So he should still be free.
Beautiful point you just made. And what the gentleman on the other side of the field are figured out about Bama this past season was the nose position. It's got that interior dude for Bama has always been a dominant guy that he forced to double team. Okay, so if there's a double team, then why isn't the Mike Backer still making the play?
Because all they had to do was put a pinky on him and he was falling over.
Missed a lot of tackles. I y'all go back and listen to some of my shows on Coach One with Coach Bull Jones. I talked about him the whole season. My feelings were hurt.
I understand.
Marvin is pointing to himself.
That's it.
Marvin did that too. Okay.
Oh, he does every week.
See, but you called it. That's what it was. That ain't right. That's not right. Everybody fits a certain way. Now, if you want to tell me, okay, I'll take this. The humanistic side of me is going to take this. I don't want to take it, but I'm going to take it. Marvin going to do a backflip when I say it. If you want to say it was his first year and he was trying to still learn how to fit in with the way we do it at Bama, okay, I'm going to give you that one. But guess what? I'm just like Steven and Justin. You better bring the wood this year. I'm telling you right now. You better lead. You better lead the team in hits for losses.
Yeah,
because ain't nobody blocking you.
Because here's the thing, people, when I would say this, a lot of people don't grasp. A lot of people watch football, but they don't really understand what they're watching. You got one center, 2 guards, 2 tackles. That's 5 people. You got a nose, you got 2 defensive ends, and you got outside linebackers. 5 people. If you double teaming Will Anderson, that means you now got 3 people blocking 4 people. Middle linebacker is another person. No reason for him to be getting touched.
You said it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
You just said it perfectly. I couldn't say it any better. And people that don't know the game don't like what you're saying.
They just care about touchdowns and the score. They don't. No,
That's
you can't
it.
talk about the team.
And trust me, we've got a lot of
and that's
pop
why
back from people because of him speaking the truth.
And here's the thing. And when I talked about why Georgia's front 7 was probably the best ever, and people went crazy and people got mad, I spoke it from a coaching standpoint, and I broke down which each one of those guys did to make their defense a fist. They made it a fist. That's what they did. And that's that stuff. And Marvin know what I'm talking about, because defense coordinator, that's what we talk about. Hey man, make a fist. We are only as strong as the weakest link. So you got to make a fist. And people don't like that. Bama folks got mad at me. But listen, it was the truth. Yeah, I know the coaches at Georgia. I know every last one of them. But the truth was the truth. Those guys all ran and they chased the ball like gazelles. Every last one of them. And the best one out of all of them, it didn't even come out in the draft. Number 88 still there.
Hey, Coach Jones, don't be mad, because I went to that Georgia Clemson game last year, that first game, and I came back and I told everybody that Georgia D-line gonna be a problem, and they all looked at me like, When you looked at Jordan Davis, and then you had 96, and you had 44, and you had 48, they were collapsing that whole offensive line. You couldn't run up the middle, and they had lateral sideline to sideline with linebackers that could play behind them. I said, them boys gonna be a problem.
And see, when you fit, here's the thing about the fit, guys. See, this is the part about defense. Boy, you get me. Boy, look, Marvin get me all pumped up. See, when there's a dance that goes on and every guy's got a married partner, okay? All right, the weak side backer, the 4-eye, the 5 technique, however you want to play it. Some people like the 4 eyes inside. Somebody likes to go 0 on the nose, whatever the case may be. But there is a married partner in a fit. And when all those guys do their job, it is like a dance, man. And people look and say, how they doing this? Well, it's because everybody knows the exact place they're supposed to be, the perfect striking point. Okay, you can't reach me. If I'm already out there, you can't reach me. I don't give a god dog what foot I got up or what foot I got back. My married partner understands if I go inside, I got outside.
And they did a great job. Tell me if I'm wrong. They did a great job at reestablishing that line of scrimmage. That line of scrimmage might have been on that 40, but when that ball was snapped about a second later, it was pushed back to that 39 and that 38, and they forced everything outside. And their corners were physical, and those linebackers could run. Those outside, the ends could run. So when they forced everything outside, they had the speed to get there. So they took away all your options. And when you can't run up the middle in football, you are done, because now you got to rely on screen plays and all this other stuff to try to loosen them up. But they so good laterally, that doesn't work.
See, that's perfect. That's exactly what happened. If you never heard what I said on my show about Georgia's defense, go back and watch it. And just what he just said is what I talked about, that dancing bear number 99. Okay, listen, he was great in what he did for that defense. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he is the best ever, but for his defense, he did what he needed to do. And then they take that joker out on 3rd and long and put the gazelles in there, the jet package. Okay, and everybody running 4.4s, 4.5s, and they 6'5", and they 250, 260, and they running like they look like aliens coming off the edge. And then that's crazy.
And when you put 96 out there with 99 and 88 and 44, they had a solid front. I'm telling you, I came back from that Georgia Clemson game, and I told him, I said, that defense is gonna be a problem.
So watch. With that being said, so mirror that now to what we're talking about in Tuscaloosa. You got them 2 dudes off the edge, point blank period, just like Marvin said. Now, them dudes in the middle have got to be what they were when you played, Marvin. Those two, them interior dudes were forces.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody got to be a force, or we're gonna have some problems. Because I'll tell you, if I'm an offensive coordinator, I'm gonna make my guards and tackles line up 2.5 feet apart, so I can widen out the edge guys, and I'm gonna run up the middle.
Because Toa gonna make the tackle 5 yards downfield, and it's 2nd and 5.
And this is why Coach Jones, this fall camp is so pivotal. We're gonna see who are those interior guys, and then maybe a situation where seniors sit down. Where the freshmen at? Where the sophomores
you're right.
at? Get somebody in that impact. Where the young guys at?
And you're right, but and part of that falls back on Toa. Because I'm gonna tell you, that Kenny Smith, that Cornelius Griffin, and all them boys, they knew if they were what they were supposed to be, they were gonna hear my mouth and I was gonna chew their ass immediately. Don't pull that crap again. You better be where you're supposed to be.
As always, as always, Mr. AKA, I seen something.
Yeah. You better get back in there where you belong. Talking about you seen something.
I want to ask one last question before I ask about recruiting, Coach. And that's Will Anderson. Like I said, you have a good relationship with him. How does Will Anderson cement his legacy at Alabama?
I tell you, he shout out to his mother and father, Torian Anderson and William Anderson.
Great people.
They did a beautiful job raising this young man. He's amazing person. His human part of him that's outside of football, it's on another level, and you can see greatness, the humbleness in him. Alabama's had so many great players, okay, and I would be remiss if I said everybody was a great person. I mean, I don't want to judge people like that, but this kid, he's a little different, guys. When he goes into a room. And when he leaves that room, it gets dark because he has a light about him. And to marvel at him, to watch him with that smile and how he entertains people. I mean, his grandmother is the toughest person in his family. Him and his sisters, they tough, man. They not playing the radio. But what he leaves for a legacy of Alabama, and it's beautiful to watch. He's going to go down as one of the top 5 to ever do it there on the defensive side of the ball, bar none. And then everybody that says that about him are going to turn around and say, man, but he was an even better person. That's the stuff that means something. That means something to me.
I think for me, Coach Jones, just being able to watch Will up close, about him is in a day and age where people are so focused about self, Will is just one of those kids. You get him out there, and you just say, just go do what you do.
Yeah.
And you just sit there and watch him do what he did. Because there was a question that was thrown at him that was, Will, you could sit out for the NFL draft. You're going to be a potential first round, number 1 overall pick. And I love football too much. I ain't going to sit down. Why would I sit down? I love this game too much. You see people like stuff on Instagram, love stuff, like stuff on Facebook, loves ball. And that's what I enjoy. He gives his all to this sport.
Well, before we close out, Coach,
I'll say this. I don't think he has to do much more than he's done to cement his legacy, because I'll be honest with you, when you look at the history of Alabama football, I mean, there's been a lot of great players that come through. Yeah. And when you say you have a legacy in Alabama football, those words mean a lot. And I ain't saying that from somebody who understands it, because when you look up the history of Bryant-Denny Stadium, it only talks about a few players. And I'm one of those few that are mentioned in the history of Bryant-Denny Stadium. So I hold that to a high regard to be one of those players to have cemented myself in that history of Alabama football. And I'll say it. He's doing stuff that none of us have ever done, and he's surpassed what we've done. He doesn't have to do anything else to cement his legacy. He will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, player defensively at Alabama. Only to be rivaled probably by Derek Thomas and Cornelius Bennett.
Woo!
Whoa.
Woo!
Whoa.
Woo! Hey, man, I got to drink some water on that. I
Yeah.
appreciate what you just said, man. Mark, I tell you what. Justin, thank you for having me on the show,
Yes,
man.
sir.
I'm loving this. Listen, man. Oh, my gosh. What you just
Don't
said.
cry, brother. Don't cry.
Hey, man, I'm enjoying it. Hey, man, I'm going to go down in the harbor and have a great night when I get off this show, boy. Me and Big Mama, we going to leave the kids here. We going to go hang out, baby.
That's what's
man,
up.
But listen. The volumes of what you just said, and that's the beauty of this. It's funny while we're talking, his defensive coordinator, Will Rogers, who was defensive coordinator at Dutchtown High School, and Will through the defensive his sophomore 11th and 12th grade year, just sitting here talking about how much of a unselfish person this is, and there are great players that sometimes are not unselfish. I'm not picking no names. It's not what it's about. But what I'm saying is to be the total package, you know, Coach Fed and Coach Rogers at Dutchtown High School, I salute them gentlemen because they had the honor of working with Will through those years of success down at Dutchtown High School. But more important than that, they both say of the man he was becoming. Okay, he don't have a problem with putting stuff on his shoulders. Man, everybody don't play like that. Okay? Here's the deal. Everybody don't look at it like that. Some people say, I did my job, why they didn't do their job? Uh-oh. Marvin done heard some people like that.
I mean,
okay, I know I done coached some.
You right, but you know, so many people try to play a role like they're such a great person off the field. But that's not always the case. So if a man truly is the man that he is, that Will is off the field, that's even more impressive. Because being a superstar athlete is one thing, but being a great human being is another. I'll tell you a quick story. The guy who I buy all my cars from, huge Sean Alexander fan. I text Sean. I said, "Hey man, this guy's a good fan of yours. You know, he loves you. If you could, send this man an autograph picture, whatever, I'll pay for whatever it costs. You can ship it to me and I'll send it to him."
Right.
Didn't even respond. Me being the man that I am, I went on eBay and bought this man a 20 by 30 autograph of Sean and sent it to him so he didn't lose faith in who his idol was. See, but not everybody's going to step up to the plate and do stuff like that.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm. You spoke volumes right there, man. That's real. And for those that are watching
this show, so he wouldn't lose faith in his idol.
So that's,
but you wouldn't even send it. When I'm telling you, I'm going to pay you for this.
Come on, man. Come on. That's why when we look at some of these great athletes, and I agree that they don't need to be role models. I mean, not every. It's tough. It's tough that they have to wear that label when that's not what they're built from.
Right.
Okay. And for the fans and the listeners that have watched this show, just know that you're hearing it real. Okay. You hearing it real for somebody who was in that locker room and played at Bama. And then, me, 30 years of coaching high school football and having kids drafted, listen, those kids that are become productive citizens in society. And more importantly, when they walk out the room, there's a light that goes out because they were the light in the room. Come on, man. That means
I'll tell you this, man. People don't understand that people like Will forever change the lives of everybody around them.
Yeah.
That is the mark of a man, changing the lives of individuals around you. Because in 20 years, ain't nobody gonna care what you did on that football field. Mm-hmm. That's irrelevant. Amen. How many lives do you impact and change along the way?
Amen. Well said.
Before we close out, Coach, a lot of people have been having their eyeballs fixed on the 2023 recruiting class. And I watched a video that you did about two men, Tony Mitchell and Jahlil Hurley. And, man, you got giddy talking about both of those guys. Can you tell the audience exactly what Alabama is getting with those two young men?
Okay, listen, sports fans, this is just me. I don't like all of these ratings of 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, because what happened, now this is just me from a coaching aspect, because when you got to go to the collegiate level, you got to go play the grown men like Marvin here, and they already mad that you walking in here with all that. You didn't do it against them, so why do we even talk about it once you graduate from the school? Why don't we just say you're a recruit, which is what you really are? But can I tell y'all something? These two guys right here, and I just did another one on Kamani, the Kamani kid. But let me talk about these two kids right here. See, everybody, sometimes you don't get kids that fit your system, but they're great athletes, and you try to coach them through your system. Well, these kids already have abilities that fit the system. Okay, press man, off man, cover 3, cover 6, two match, whatever you want to call it. Okay, Marvin know it's you gonna lock into man somewhere. Okay, and you 2 match, however you want to look at it. But these kids have an uncanny ability to not don't flinch under pressure when people running at you. And that, to me, 2 things I look at in my secondary. And everybody, Metro Atlanta that played me from the state championship games, never. I'm cover 0. I don't give a flip. You got 1.8 seconds to get the ball off. So I'm press man, off man. Okay, you figure it out. You're going to think it's cover 4, but it ain't. You know, we tap dancing. We're going to make it do what it do. So these kids already have eye discipline, and they have great feet. Okay. I mean, look, everybody fast when you get to play at Alabama. Everybody fast. Don't get it twisted. But do you panic? Can you run looking up? Can you run looking up? Can you feel a man on your hip and not panic? And can you still, even though you run a 4.3, still jump for the ball? These 2 kids are like Batman and Robin, Tango and Cash. And I never like to give all this 5-star, 4-star, because I don't know who the kids played against. Okay. I want to compare you against, if you played the best and you shut down the best, well, we talking about something. But these 2 kids, eye discipline and their feet are what I call pretty. They are tap dancers. Okay. So they don't fear somebody running vertical on them, and they do a great job of eye discipline, following hips, and a lot of being able to break on the ball and look at, when you breaking on the ball, it's to the ball and not to the quarterback. And Marv, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Stop looking at the quarterback. The ball wasn't for you in the first place.
Looking at the quarterback, you're going to get beat on a 5-yard out to the house.
Amen. See there. A linebacker coach speaking to a linebacker. Hey, man, these kids do that well, and they're already good at it. So Coach Saban don't have to teach that. T-Rob don't have to teach that. They got to just learn to play against top competition in practice. So when you go on Saturday afternoon on ESPN, you ain't afraid of it, because iron sharpens iron. So when I'm telling you, the Mitchell kid and the Hurley kid got it. They both got the size. So what? That ain't what makes them. Hey, man, where's your eye discipline when you got a receiver running at you? Where do your eyes go? Do you go to the quarterback? How do you track the ball? Can you jump? Did you know everybody that's fast can't jump? They all can't jump. Hello, they can't jump. Marvin know what I'm talking about. They all can't jump. So guess what? These kids got that, and they fit the Bama system. And I think that's the greatest part of watching these kids say they're coming to Tuscaloosa. I think that is a gem. They also got the Downs kid now. Hey, man, I know his folks, his uncle, his cousins, Olton Downs, coaches, Gary Downs, the dad. Come on, man, you got a head on her. So those 2 kids, along with the Downs kid, and if you want to say that there's a number 1, the Carmona kid, y'all got to see my show on that, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a great show.
It is. Hey, man, it's going to be lockdown city. I don't give a doggone who is playing off the edge.
So what you're saying is my undisclosed amount that I bet it at -38 is good.
Well, here, keep in mind now, those kids still got to play this fall. So they don't come to Tuscaloosa yet.
Yeah.
They don't come,
you got one more year.
Toe, better not lose my money.
Well, you need to have a come to Jesus meeting with Toa because he got bigger, man. I mean, he busted down his clothes, but it looks good on him. You know, Bama gonna get it looking right.
Hold on,
but
Coach,
it ain't about the eye test at this point.
Hey, Coach, I done seen plenty of people bust out their clothes, and like Dubo said, we just gonna let you get off the bus first. That's all you do it for.
Dubo's ruthless, man.
When you get a chance, check it out on Coach One Sports, where everybody watches their podcast stuff. I broke those guys down, and they're the top of the food chain. And I don't like to do that because I don't spend a lot of time rating kids. I don't rate kids at all. You know, when guys come to my school and say, well, you know, we don't think he's a 4-star. I said, we don't think he's a 4-star. I said, well, hell, what you here for? Well, you know, Kirby told me we need to come by and check your kid out. Well, he just whipped I got video where he whipped all these 5-stars. So what's your next reason for not wanting my kid? Now he's gonna go somewhere else in the SEC. See, so I don't like that. I think that sometimes people but they can play, and they are comfortable in their skin, and they're not stressed. That's the magical part of them, because you can have kids that are 6'3" and they run a 4.2 40, and just like Marvin said, that's it. It stopped right there. Once you put the ball on the 20. They get scared.
Coach, I specialized in terrorizing people. I didn't care who they was.
Boy, I tell you.
This is true.
I didn't care. Hey, listen, man, I kid you not. You ask anybody who I play. If I didn't want offense to run plays in practice, they wasn't running nothing. And then you hear Dubos over there hollering, stay off of Sean. You better get him out of here, because I'm going to wear his ass out You better get him out.
That's why he's not doing favors for you now.
He might be. But I didn't discriminate. From Sean Alexander to Chris Samuels, I didn't care. If I didn't want you to run the play, you weren't running it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Everybody needs the alpha male on that defense and offense.
Amen.
But I think that, Justin, those two kids, in addition to what Bama already has, hey, man, the cupboard is not bare. And if those kids stick, that's special, because you got two kids that going to play 3 years, and then they're gone.
So you saying I can increase my bet?
Oh, no, I'm saying yes, I can increase it when they get there.
When they get there.
Yeah. They got to
So
get
you
there.
saying next year,
Marvin,
I can go all in on my bets.
Do we need a 12-step program for you?
It's all in fun, man. That's how I entertain myself. That's how I get through life.
Well, listen, guys, we got to close up shop. Great show, though. Coach Bull Jones, thank you so much for coming on with us. We really enjoyed it. If you will, tell the folks again where they can find you on YouTube, and then contact information if they want to follow you anywhere else.
Okay, if y'all want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Coach Bull Jones. You can go ahead and just punch that in on Twitter. And once again, it's at Coach Bull Jones. And as far as my podcast, it's Coach One Sports with Coach Bull Jones. And you can find that anywhere that you listen to all of your podcast shows. And once again, if you're looking for a show that's about just enlightening from a coaching standpoint, and also giving love to the coaches on how they do what they do and why they do it. Okay, that's what it's all about. Now, if you're looking for somebody to bash some people, you probably need to go somewhere else. But it's about love for those guys that walk that walk and wear that whistle, because it's real. And the most amazing part about it is there's a little bit of coaching all of us. We just don't know it sometimes. It don't have to be sports. We got things that we can pass on to people and just help them out, you know, and just keep with it. So Coach One Sports at Coach Bull Jones. Appreciate you.
You ever need somebody on there breaking down a game out the Bama game who's gonna speak the truth? Call me. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. I don't drink the Kool-Aid. I ain't gonna sit here and act like it's the greatest product on earth if it ain't.
He brings it during football season, Coach.
Oh, I can't wait. You know, and I want Steven to just let me tag along, and I'd like to be able to just sit. I'll be a fly on the wall next time he interviews Coach Saban. I mean, I ain't nobody. I just look like this. Hey, man, I still got the same face from 1970, man. I don't know what to tell you.
That's it. All right, Marvin, it goes to you. How can folks find you on social media, and then also 40 Plus Strong?
What's my Twitter is constant451. Yeah, that's it.
Oh my gosh, you forgot his
Hey
social
man,
media.
listen, don't do
Shows
that.
how much he uses it.
My Instagram is constant45. So boom. And again, you want that physical and mental fitness at 40 plus. You can go on Amazon. Physical and mental fitness at 40 plus is the title. You can grab it. Best book you ever gonna buy. 3 different 6-week workout programs in it. And I walk you through that mental aspect of why you want to lose weight, how to maintain your relationships, because again, you walk in the room, you want your other to look at you like you're a steak. You know, we talk about that versus hypertension, high blood pressure, that all the things that people are at high risk for, and the amount of money that it's going to cost you to treat that versus actually working out and physically taking care of yourself and changing up your diet, man. And myself, I'm back to 110% after the post, out for my knee replacement starting this week. I'm about to put on about 15 pounds of muscle, so I'm about to come back up.
Okay.
From 220 to 235. Even though I played at 245, I still ain't as big as I used to be. I'm gonna come back up, put on about 15 pounds of muscle, just to show people how you can manipulate your body, even in your 40s. You can still get the body you want. You can still get your energy levels through the roof. You can still be your significant other's hero, role model, whatever you want to call it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I like that.
All right, Stephen M. Smith, that leaves you, brother. Tell us what's up next for In My Own Words, and then how people can find you.
Well, next one happened what Coach Saban said on today at SEC Media Days. Just giving thoughts on the Hunt and Bryce Young, a lot of Will Anderson, and even some quiet hunger there from Jordan back that not too many people zoomed in on. So going to recap SEC Media Days tomorrow, and people can find me on Twitter at Coaching M Smith. That's at Coaching M. Covering Nick Saban. I'm at my hometown, just getting these highlights. Coach Bull, I would be one of those guys highlighting the kids. I would be one of those guys making those. That would be me there. But I do it to help these young men get these scholarships coming from that area there. But that's what we do here.
That's what's up.
Oh, man. You done, Stephen M. Smith? Because I got to put this out there, too. I had a conversation with old Tony Dixon. I don't know if y'all remember Tony or not.
Oh, yeah.
Played safety at Alabama, played for the Cowboys. I've been challenging him to get his foundation back up and running where it needs to be so we can start servicing these kids, of West Alabama, providing them with what they need. Because, again, we know West Alabama's not the richest of areas, so a lot of these kids need resources. So if you know Tony Dixon, shoot him a message and tell him, hey, man, what's going on with the foundation? Light a fire under him, because I've been trying to light it under him for the past few months.
All right, we'll do.
All right.
That'll work.
Great show, gentlemen. Enjoyed it. Everybody have a great night and roll tide.
Roll
Tide.
We'll see you later.